Hello guys, it is Larissa. I am going to talk to you about casting. So there are a few things you need to keep in mind about casting. The first thing is remember who your characters are. What they like, how do they act. Usually I make a list of physical characteristics that they have. So in the play it may talk about how short they all are, how tall they are, stocky, what color of hair they have, their eyes, facial hair, anything like that. Any physical characteristics, write them down. Another thing to look at is just make notes when it tells you what they do for a living. What are they wearing in the play? You don't want to choose a scientist and for a cast member who looks nothing close to a scientist. So just keep in mind of that. Also, check their age. Don't pick somebody who's 50 to play a character who's 20. The age may just be a number, but casting the right person is extremely important. And how old they are in relation to others in the cast. You don't want to book moms and daughters with same age actors. So just use your best judgment. Also, this may be very obvious, but ethnicity. If your character is from Ireland or Germany or Africa, you need to plan accordingly. So just be aware of those situations. Another way you can go about casting certain people is make a list of actors and actresses that you are interested in casting for your roles. And then once you make those lists, go through and find different movies or clips of the actors that you're deciding on. So this is just a great way to see how they adapt in different situations. The key thing here is that you want to see how they can make the character arc in a positive way. So you want to make sure that they can do both sides of the spectrum. They can do really, really mellow and really, really extreme. And the only way that they can get it positive, a positive character arc, is if they are actually willing to go all the way to that and it's believable. So make sure that you do your research on your actors and how they can play these roles in both ways. Another thing when looking at who to play what role, go with your gut. Intuition is super strong and you need to trust your feelings when it comes to this. I would also recommend choosing characters that aren't so obvious. So if you have a character that is a pirate, try not to pick Johnny Depp, just because everyone knows him as Captain Jack Sparrow. So that already puts a mindset in other people's minds of how he could act as a pirate. Same thing about a murderer. Try not to cast someone like Jack Nicholson, just because he plays it really well. But like I said, a lot of people could go to that already mindset of what he has already done. So try to choose people that aren't so iconic for their roles, but definitely choose people lower on the totem pole if it fits your character. Just make sure you don't play into the trap of what the character is. So pirate, murderer, whatever. Maybe try choosing people that are maybe less extreme. You wouldn't actually think of them in that way. Just play out of the trap. So think about your people, do your research, and then cast them. When you have an idea of the cast members that you have, put them together. Do they look like they all fit in this play, or does someone stand out like a sore thumb? You just want to make sure that they all make sense. If it doesn't seem like they fit together, then you may need to find someone to replace one of the other actors. It can even be a height difference. Someone's super short and everyone else is super tall. So just be aware of how they look physically and if they look like they could actually be either a family or co-workers or things like that. Just make sure you keep that in mind when you're looking at the big picture. Another thing about casting is making sure that your characters fit the role. So if you had two characters that were cops, just make sure that you choose the right one to be the cop. Maybe there's an older cop and a younger cop. And then I have two images on the screen. Now, what one would you think would be the older cop? And what one would you think would be the younger cop? So if you look at these characters, the older cop is more relaxed, super awesome. He's probably, let's say he's the good cop. And then the younger cop to the left would be more of the bad cop, really into his job, maybe has a temper problem. So you could definitely see that in the pictures, but always consider flipping your characters. And what does this do to the circumstances? So keep that in mind. Flip your characters, see what it does to the circumstances, and play off of that. So basically with casting, just be aware of who you're picking. There are always going to be people more iconic for their roles that they've played. Try to keep them out of it if you can. Sometimes they just don't fit. And just make sure that your cast members all look great together. And the ages, the personal looks, everything. Just make sure that it fits together before you for sure cast them. And then make sure that the given circumstances fit the characters as well. You don't want to switch a character for the dad and the son. You want to make sure that they make sense and that they fit the style of the play. Thank you.